You've known about this, you say, for 2 months. You talked about absolute transparency, and yet it was decided not to tell anybody. We didn't know that you'd known about it for 2 months. You did keep it quiet. You say you were advised to for legal reasons. I don't know what those legal reasons are, and I doubt you'll be transparent enough to tell me. But you've known for 2 months. You say it's going to take another 2 months. Rohit, who does understand these matters, says he can't see why. All you do is you look into it. It should take no longer than a couple of days just to find out why and how the information was disseminated, and also who was responsible, who did it, who should have supervised them, who should have made sure it didn't happen. It's a giveaway. He says it's not a leak, it's not a data breach, it's a giveaway. It's exactly what happened in Northern Ireland, exactly the same. He also suggests, as you heard, he said it very cogently himself, that this release of this information so that we know about what's happened has been done pretty much under cover of what's been announced in Northern Ireland. So, you know, a good day to bury bad news, a good day to release news of a data breach, because there's a bigger one in Northern Ireland occupying more time, more worrying and taking up more headlines. Why isn't it going to be quicker?
Well, I'll have to ask the constabulary that, but could I just absolutely clarify that is not the way I work, by trying to cover things up, and because of what happened in Northern Ireland. This date had been set, I think, a few weeks ago when they said they would complete the first investigation. You've got to remember, I have to trust the constabulary on what they're doing, and I have no reason to disbelieve them. As I say, they had legal advice, wait till you've done the initial sift of seeing how many people were affected. Now, I'm not a technology expert. You've got your colleague there who can comment on that, but I can absolutely assure you that there is no way that I would ever sanction anything being on the lines of what was it, a good day to bury bad news, because this date has been in my diary for a few weeks as to when it was going to go public. Other stakeholders were given a confidential briefing, I think it was yesterday, and victims are being contacted now. Now, this independent inquiry will look at all the points that your colleague, and I'm sorry I can't remember your name offhand, will look at all that, because I think they're very pertinent questions, and we've got them all noted, and I can assure you we will get to the bottom of it.
All right, well, I'll tell you what's going to happen now. We have a caller. We have Simon from Northampton. He's on the line. He used to work in data protection, so maybe you gentlemen will listen to what he has to say and then you can respond. Simon, hello, good to hear from you. Thanks for ringing. What are your thoughts on this?
Hi there, Vanessa. As you said, I used to work in data protection. I worked for a major high street building society in their data privacy team for a couple of years. And after that, I worked for a non-profit organisation as their registered data protection officer. So I had to be fully certified, do all the training and understand what I was doing.
Yeah.
And even when I worked for the building society, what we had to do was go through double checking and triple checking any data before we sent it out. So I just cannot see and understand how a police force can go through a series of checks, or probably is more likely they didn't go through any checks before releasing this data. My own personal view on this is people that they have in these departments within, say, public sector such as the police, they deem it as a basic administration role, and they do not put people in there that are qualified to understand what they are doing. They just see it as copying and pasting, as you've said, a spreadsheet, send a spreadsheet out without actually understanding the magnitude of what they're dealing with. And in response to how this is going to take so long to investigate, I don't accept that. This should be a very simple case of assessing who is it that put these data sets together, where did they access this data from, and who signed off this being released. It should not take months and months and months. There should be a very simple single point of failure to assess who did this wrong, why they did this wrong, and if it's a documented process and what is going to be done to change it.
Tim, I mean, you heard Rohit, who's a scientific and technological marvel, tell you it shouldn't take more than a couple of days. You've heard my caller, Simon, you hear what his qualifications are. This is his actual line of work. He knows exactly what he's talking about, as we can tell. He really does. He's a highly informed caller, telling you it's very basic and very simple. Now, I don't know if you join me in this, but every time I hear the word inquiry, I shudder, because I know it just means an infinite length of time, and usually an infinite length and enormous sum of money. And the conclusion always is lessons will be learned, only they never are, because nobody can ever remember what the inquiry concluded. In other words, Rohit says it should take 2 days. Simon says it should take 2 days. I'm prepared to concede that they know exactly what they're talking about. This shouldn't be something that takes you a couple of months. You should, and what day is it today? It's Tuesday. You should know by Friday, the latest.
Right. Okay, well, very valid points. I will certainly take that back. I shall be straight on the phone tomorrow to ask why is it taking so long. That's what I was told in good faith. And as I said earlier, I believe what I'm told. But having had that put to me, I will certainly find out about that. And we will need to know the process. I've already said there is a process. What rank people are when they sign these off, I don't know all the details. You've got to remember the constabulary is a big organisation, does have a great deal of freedom of information requests, but that's why I want this inquiry done as quickly as possible, and I will do everything I can to speed this up, looking at the systems that are used. If it's about the spreadsheet, competence and whatever, that will all be looked at, I guarantee, and it's not going to be a whitewash. I don't work like that. It never is going to be a whitewash, and when the findings are clear, then we will be publishing them. Good. And I will do everything I can to make sure trust
here on Talk TV, and you can tell me what you found and how it's never going to happen again. Thank you. I would appreciate that. Thank you very much indeed. Rohit, thank you. Simon, excellent caller. Thank you very much indeed. Coming up after the